Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb, he is Chef Zay, and we are in the dog days of summer. It's 80 degrees out, and the Cleveland Browns are still in OTAs. We got a shortened week, a lot to talk about for you guys. Zay, how was your weekend, I guess, really?
Weekend was actually good. We had family come in from Michigan.
Oh, nice.
My mom retired after 33 years. Shout out to my Dukes, teacher in the metropolitan schools.
Nice.
So she hung it up, and my family lives in Michigan, and they never come up. So, like, this is the first time I think in my life that I actually remember seeing my uncle, my cousin, and then my other aunt and my other cousin all in my house, at my mom's house at once. So that was pretty cool. Other than that, took a chill pill.
Nice.
You know, dog, like you said, dog days, no big news. How about you?
It was good. This past weekend was really fun. We went on a tiki barge.
Oh,
Have you seen those around downtown in the water? The tiki boats, the party boats?
You partying on a boat?
Yeah, it was so fun.
Wait, is this like a thing?
Yes. So I don't know what the company is.
Is it that?
No, it's not that.
Oh,
up there.
I was gonna say
that's way too upscale. But no free shout outs, I guess. But I don't remember the name of the company. But regardless, it was so cool. You get 2 hours on a boat. You divide it up a bunch of friends. It's not super expensive. Bring your own drinks. They just have a bartender there to serve you the drinks, and you do a couple laps around Cleveland on the water. It is so cool. It was one of the coolest things I've told my friends before doing anything, a pregame of sorts, the best pregame I've ever had. Now, it was not super cheap, but it was really, really fun.
Is it one of those ones like the when you're on the bike outside on the?
No, it's the same kind of boat, but there's no pedals. Like, you just stand.
Oh, so you're just sitting there.
Yes.
Okay.
It was really cool. But weekend was good, enjoying the weather as much as possible. The Browns are back at OTAs for another week of hypotheticals, fun things. The time we're recording this, they're just now practicing. Maybe 5 seconds ago on socials, Joe Flacco just threw a pick to Jordan Hicks. Is it time to bench Joe Flacco?
Yeah. No, not a chance.
Yeah, it's the dog days of summer, like we said. But we did still have some very interesting Browns news this past week. Obviously, you have the cap allocations from the post-June 1 cuts. The Browns got about $10 million back in cap space from cutting a couple players, and now they have a little bit more money to work with. Is there anything that's sticking out to you in terms of what the Browns can do with that extra $10 million? Is it a save for the future type thing?
The only thing that I was kind of thinking of is there a guy out there that could go on like a 1-year deal type of thing where you could throw him a little bit of money, go on a 1-year deal? I would feel comfortable saying, hey, let's throw that money at Keenan Allen, but it's like, are we really in that position where we're like, we don't really know if we're competing the way that we want to compete? You know what I mean? Do we want to just throw a 1-year, however, 13, 14 million, however much it would cost to get him? But that's the only type of move that I can honestly think of, unless it involves some type of trade.
Yeah.
Maybe, but even then, I can't even think of
I
a
was
trade.
thinking get-ahead extension, because we know Andrew Berry loves to do that. There's nobody that comes to the top of my mind outside of Greg Newsome. Greg Newsome, if
Emerson, if they can get ahead of him.
Yeah, yes, a DB, regardless, a DB. They're thin there. I think if you're going to shell out money for a receiver, a lot of Browns fans would be with me. I think Amari Cooper, I think that'd be really cool. I think this is just a save for the future thing, though.
Yeah.
I think you want to give yourself the best opportunity possible to, again, extend in season if somebody's playing really, really well. You don't want to let them test the market. You can potentially trade for somebody in season, extend them. You get more money down the line. But I saw Nick tweeted it out this time next year, if Deshaun Watson gets cut, when Deshaun Watson gets cut, all that stuff. That will be a crazy day in Cleveland, because Browns will be getting that cap allocation back, which will be it'll be like a little celebration in Cleveland if he doesn't come back and play this year.
I was going to say he has to miss all of this year, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know if it's missing all of this year, but regardless if it's a post-June 1 cut designated next year, it's still the same type of cap allocations as it relates to the contract that Juan Thornhill, what was the other one? Was it Dalvin Tomlinson? Yeah, Dalvin Tomlinson will still get. There was another piece of news, though. Jedrick Wills. Very, very interesting. We thought the ship had sailed. It has sailed, right?
Oh,
there's no way he's coming back.
No.
We thought the ship has sailed, and comes out. He's taking most of, maybe all of next year off to fully recover from an injury. We are not anybody to poke fun at or comment on somebody else's health as it relates to sports, but you just said it, the business decision thing. How do you not think about that quote in the wake of all of this Jedrick Wills stuff when he said it was a business decision to miss a game? I don't know how you don't think about that in the wake of all of this, and there had been at least some interest. I know the Miami Dolphins, for a fact, were interested in talking to Jedrick Wills, and that fell through for whatever reason. It could have been a health-related reason, but my mind just keeps going back to that quote.
Well, when you talk about players, my big thing with Jedrick Wills was the motor. It was never the talent. It was never, ever the talent. It was always, do you love football? When you ask that player, like, do you love the game of football? Do you eat, breathe, and sleep football? I don't think that was the case with Jedrick Wills. And when you see him say he's going to take all of this time without structural damage, there's no massive – it's like there's nothing in the knee that it's like, hey, you can go out here and play. It's more of a mental thing for him. And then you look at how much money that he's made. Maybe he's just comfortable with looking at that $34 million payday that he got, and it's like, you know what? I've done what I need to do. I'm going to ride off into the sunset. Yep. But I don't know what terms of business decision he was making when he said that comment, because now it's looking like, oh, well, you've just been checked out for a year and a half, 2 years now. So was this the plan all along?
Yeah, it's tough to tell. We all know the Browns are better off without him, and the offensive line, just generally speaking, is better off without him. One thing I did notice, I don't know if you saw the clip of Joel Bitonio talking at the charity golf outing, but his commitment to coming back to Cleveland, number one, he said it genuinely was a decision. Mm-hmm. He was contemplating retiring. He was played in the NFL for close to a decade, if not a decade already by now. He was close to retiring. There were multiple reasons that he came back, coaching, his health, his family, all these things. But the one thing that stuck out to me was his discussion about the offensive changes, going back to, I believe his words were, wide zone with power mixed in or sprinkled in or whatever it was. That run-first offense that we've all been speculating is coming back, but Joel Bitonio almost confirmed it, going back to the installs from 2020, 2021. I love to hear that, especially when you talk about the strength of this Browns team, the strength of the offensive line, getting guys like Wyatt Teller in space. Ethan Pocic is a guy who can do so many different things that I think a lot of people forget about. A good puller, but can also do a lot of different things in the run game that kind of were neutralized. Deshaun Watson, Ken Dorsey, all this stuff. I loved hearing that.
I think it echoes, I want to say it was Conklin. It was either Conklin or Teller. I want to say it was Conklin at the end of the last year at the exit meetings, where he talked about, well, we would love to get back to the run scheme that we used to run and this and that. And it's just like, okay, the players kind of put their foot down a little bit. It seems as if things are starting to sway back into that direction. Mm-hmm. And this is all signs that Kevin Stefanski's back running the show. Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about, we didn't really know how that was going to go last year with Kevin Stefanski once having the offense, then having to give it up, and now he's getting it back. It's clear as day now that there's no question. There's no Tommy Rees install. There's no Ken Dorsey install. This is Kevin Stefanski, 100,000%. So honestly, all of the success should go towards Kevin Stefanski and his offense, and all of the blame should go on Kevin Stefanski's offense, depending on how this goes. So this is a big, big year for not only the offense, but Kevin Stefanski, because in the words of Hugh Jackson, he's driving the bus again.
Yep, absolutely. It's put up or shut up time for that offense. We'll talk about the offensive line in the next segment, Never Sunny and Berea. But before we move on, I do want to give a brief shout out to the Colleague Companies Championship at Firestone Country Club. Guys, for 72 years, Firestone Country Club has been a stage for some of the greatest golfers and a staple in professional golf, but it's more than just a tournament. It's a celebration of community and philanthropy, having raised over $34 million for charitable organizations. Over the past 2 years, we raised $2.6 million, raised for and given to over 25 Northeast Ohio charities. You can get one ticket for two experiences. Not only do ticket holders have an opportunity to watch legendary golf, but they also receive complimentary access to the Colleague Infinity Zone, the epicenter of off-course fun. Over 50,000 square feet, located at the main entrance and exit. It elevates fan experience with interactive activities, bar and lounge areas, food trucks, and celebrity appearances. Once play ends for the day, the Colleague Infinity Zone transforms into a full-fledged music festival with live performances. Get your tickets today. ColleagueGolf.com, June 18th to June 22nd. We are going to move on to Never Sunny in Berea next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land. I am Max Loeb, he is Chef Zay, and this is Big Play Sports Network. We are entering Never Sunny in Berea, the segment where we attribute weather reports to three people in the Browns building. The last two, we got two individuals, but the first one, we are grouping a bunch of people together in the offensive line. We haven't talked too much about the offensive line this offseason, but as OTAs are rolling around, we're starting to see some rotations. We're starting to see how healthy some guys are, and we're seeing Joel Bitonio talk to the media. We got to talk about it, right? The offensive line is the most important part of this offense, and ultimately what the Browns want to do this year. It's the biggest key to it, to establishing the run. Joel Bitonio said taking care of the football, and when the defense was at the best, the past few years, it was when they were fresh. It was when they did not have to play 70-plus snaps a game. That is the priority, and the Browns' offensive line is going to play a key part in that. So I'll ask you, Zay, your weather report for the Browns' offensive line in the middle of June when it is sunny out here, but for the offensive line, is it the same?
Yeah, how could it not be sunny, right?
Okay.
You just talked about it in a segment before this where they're getting back to the style of offense that they want to get back to. They're getting back to running the ball. Now, obviously, there's no Nick Chubb, there's no Kareem Hunt, but I made a video earlier today on Honor the Lane. If you guys haven't saw it, go back and check it out. There's sources around the Browns that reportedly believe that the twitch that Junkins has reminds them of prime Nick Chubb. They said that they're going to try to utilize Junkins and Sampson as Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Now, you mentioned how it was going back to run first. I want to know how much run first, because we've talked about this a few times where I don't know if we'll ever see the running backs get 20-plus carries a game. But is that something that they could be going back to, you think, since it seems as if everything is shifting back to the Kevin Stefanski era?
I think so, but that's also never been Stefanski's style.
MO, exactly.
So I think it's more a holistic total carry. Let's throw a number out. Let's say 36, right? 36
between
carries.
the two?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 36 between the three. Because Jerome Ford will get some touches too. Let's say 43 touches throughout the entire Browns backfield, 7 through the air, 36 on the ground. Whatever it is, around there, that is absolutely the priority. And that is very, very cool to see because, like you talked about, regardless if you believe Quinshon Judkins is comparable to Nick Chubb, Jahmyr Gibbs, whoever, it's still a thunder to a lightning. I know we say that a lot, but it's still the case. There's two different styles of back that are going to be used in different situations when I'm talking about both of the rookies here that you haven't really had, honestly, since Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And even Chubb and Hunt, to me, were still kind of similar. They were not that different. And I don't love when people try to say thunder, lightning, just like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Those guys were both thunder. That was the reality of it.
Just a fresh pair of thunder.
Exactly. You got two different thunders. It wasn't a thunder and lightning. This, I hate to go back to the Ohio State comparison because Quinshon Judkins is from Ohio State and it seems like an easy cop-out, but this is like the Ohio State backfield last year where you literally have Judkins, the thunder, and then you have a lightning and a Travion Henderson, but now it's Dylan Sampson, a guy who, in my opinion, might be better in some cases than Travion Henderson was at Ohio State or would be in the NFL. So I love it. The opportunity's there, and I think it's the weather out right now for the offensive line. It's hot, it's sunny, but it's that first taste of summer, that first taste of the really nice weather that you're getting because they're finally getting a taste of the offense that they feel fits their skill set the best.
I think what's funny to me is, though, when you talk about the Thunder and the Lightning, they referenced him to be like Alvin Kamara. That's not Thunder. That's Lightning. You know what I mean? Like, are we missing something? Are we visualizing Junkins as this one type of back? But we'll get that type of back, but there's an element to him that we really, haven't seen yet.
I don't know.
Or is that guy, that source, not really sourceable right
now? I don't deny the source. I don't remember the handle of the source. I don't deny the source. But I think player comparisons like that, this is a tangent. We don't need to go deep down this rabbit hole. I think player comparisons to star players is kind of dumb. It's kind of dumb. There's prime Alvin Kamara. There are very few players that are ever going to enter the league that are like that. Prime Jahmyr Gibbs. What we are witnessing in Jahmyr Gibbs right now, at least in my opinion, not a lot of players can do that. Nick Chubb, for all I care, he was damn good. It's really hard to compare running backs who haven't even played a snap in the NFL to those guys. Now, college comps, that's one thing. But saying that you can have this type of impact in an offense, which totally could be the case. It could be the case. I could be wrong. You guys could clip this if you want. But the reality is we have no backing for saying that. Just what we see on tape from the college translation to the NFL, and maybe they have a couple similar plays.
Here's what I'll say. As a Browns fan, we're very, very good at overly hyping players.
Yeah.
But this feels like one of the first years dating back to, I would say, the Odell days where you looked at Odell and you were like, he's just different on the field. There are a couple players on this Browns roster that I'm looking at and I'm just like, there's something different.
Yeah.
Jenkins is one of them.
Interesting.
So I'm very interested to see now. Like you said, it's hard to compare a guy to a Pro Bowler in the NFL who hasn't taken a snap.
Yeah, some of those guys are like top of the top, not even just like Pro Bowlers.
I don't know, but when you look at him though, he does look different. Like
he does.
When you're comparing it to the high, obviously this is an unfair comparison, but when you were comparing this to Demetric Felton on your list, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you didn't look at Demetric Felton and was like,
"You're right.
This guy's got it."
Yep, you're right.
I look at Jenkins and I'm like, "There's no way this guy can be a bust."
I agree. That is a good point.
That's how I look at it.
I like it. Oh, I hope you're right, and I hope he's not a bust. But we have to go back to the guy who drafted him eventually at some point in the offseason, Andrew Berry. We'll talk about the draft picks with Berry, but I do kind of want to talk about the receiver scenario. I know we go down the receiver trade rabbit hole all the time, but I do kind of want to talk about that and bring that up as it relates to him in the weather report. Given everything that's going on now, roster construction-wise, obviously moving on from Jedrick Wills, that ship finally sailing, I guess, that door being fully closed on that experiment. What are you giving Andrew Berry in terms of weather report right now?
Well, I know we're talking about how he's done later in the show. So it's if we're basing it off of like, what are we basing it off of? Because right now there's not really big major stuff to be, I can't, it's just like a steady water type of day. Like nothing major, nothing low, but like if we're looking at it as a whole, I think if you want to go the receiver direction, I think it almost just plays back into the Kevin Stefanski hand where it's just like, okay, we tried the air it out way. We tried to do it, I don't know if it's Barry's way, if it's Paul Podesta's way, or whoever's way it is. But I think you got to give him a little bit of kudos in giving Stefanski what does he love? 2 running backs and a tight end.
Yeah.
You drafted 3 of them. So, I mean, I it's just like it's not the weather, it's the water it's just that steady water. You see a couple ripples in there every once in a while, but it's just nice and peaceful.
Interesting. See, I keep looking at this in the construction of the offense, and I love the fact that they're getting back to what has worked better in the past, but at the same time, it's not the same personnel that you've had in the past. You have not had the multiple premier receivers or multiple receivers can stay healthy and consistently give you production on the outside. I just find it so hard to believe. I'll ride the water claim, but I think it's a normal day at the beach. You're still going to get waves. You're still going to get things crashing down. And I think it's a little overcast, to be fully honest with you. I think every time I look at this roster, every time I pull up the Browns depth chart on whatever website, I am just staring at the receiver position. And I said it last show. I'll say it again. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you can run the ball all you want. You can take care of the football all you want. Eventually, you're going to get behind the chains. You can't always stay ahead of the chains. Eventually, your offensive line that, even though we really like it, has some question marks, is going to have to deal with guys, assuming he gets paid, like Trey Hendrickson, is going to have to deal with the TJ Watts, the Justin Matabikes, everybody like that who can get after the quarterback in the 3rd and long. You got to get that ball out. Who's going to go win? Oh, they bracketed Jerry Jeudy. Oh, no, who's next? You got to trust those guys. And every time I look at the receiver room and how that has played out in the draft, in free agency, and again,
Elijah Moore.
Yep, you lose Elijah Moore in today's June 3rd. I'll say it again. I don't think they're done. I think they're still trying to get another receiver on the roster. It's just a little overcast to me.
I think the overcast is Deontay Johnson. Go back to
he is the big cloud covering up the sun if he comes in and performs.
If he comes in, because then I think I read something on Twitter on X where they were talking about the quote where it's like Kevin Stefanski said, "Yeah, he's gonna have to come in and OTAs and practice and prove it," and then he's not even here. Like, if that's your move, bro, you better hope it works out. I just go back to why didn't they make the move, and it feels as if everything that happened at the end of last year is the foreshadowing of this year, which was they were protecting Cedric Tillman. They think they might have found something in Cedric Tillman because he had the 3-game stretch where he was, I believe he was wide receiver number 1. If he wasn't wide receiver number 1, he was 1B. And maybe they're banking on that, and it goes back to just the expectation of the season. Like, maybe this is the one year where they're looking at the receiver the market, the draft, and everything into it, and it was like, okay, this is the mulligan year. Let's bolster up everything else. Let's get our running back situated. We'll draft a tight end where Stefanski can make use of him. We've seen him do it with 2 tight ends before. And maybe next year is the year where it's not just a splash, but it's a big splash in terms of the receiver next year.
Well, I hope you're right, because they have to figure out the quarterback situation before you throw to a receiver. And I'll finish by asking you this. We'll give a one-word answer for Kevin Stefanski's weather right now. Again, amidst all of this, the roster construction, what he has shown us, quote, shown us at OTAs with the quarterback reps, everything like that, but also his golf game.
Yeah.
I know we've all seen the clips. I think we all know Kevin Stefanski can golf. Weather's getting nice out. One-word answer, is the weather nice for Kevin Stefanski? What is his weather report right now, given everything going on?
I would say... I can't give you one. I'll give you 2. I'll give him in charge. Like, he's Mother Nature right now.
Ooh.
I think, like I said, I go back to the bus comment. This is the year. He is in charge this year. The first 4 years that I've watched Kevin Stefanski coach this team, I never felt that Kevin Stefanski was the guy leading the way. Now, he's not the prototypical leader that I look at other coaches, and I'm like, yeah, that's that leader. He has his style. We've seen it before. And this is the first time where I'm listening to him, how he's moving, how he's carrying himself, the players that he has on his team. He is in charge of what's going on right now. So the weather report, whatever he wants it to be. If it's sunny out, he'll make it sunny. If it's cold out, he'll make it cold. But he's in charge right now.
Okay, I like that. I think when you look at the weather for any day is going to be nice out, it's going to be nice out in the afternoon, but you wake up in the morning, you step outside like 7 o'clock.
Dew on the ground.
Dew on the ground. And you can almost smell it. You're like, yeah, this is going to be a beautiful day. That's what I think it's like for Kevin Stefanski, too. I'm in the same boat. He's in charge. He is Mother Nature. And ultimately, he is leading the Browns down the path that he's really wanted to take them down. I think that's the reality of it. So we are on the same page. Kevin Stefanski is finally running the show. We are going to talk about some of his best moments as the coach, but also the other best Browns moments in the 21st century, highlighting 5 specific games in our next segment, Dogs on Draft, on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb, he is Chef Zay, and this is the 3rd edition of Dogs on Draft, where we pick any topic in the Cleveland world, the Browns world, and make a draft of our 5 best answers for the prompt. Today's prompt, the 5 best Browns games in the 21st century. Pretty open-ended on what best means, but we're going to let you guys vote on all socials as well. X and Instagram will actually have polls. It's at Honor the Land. It's the same handle as it is on here. So go vote for your favorite after the draft. We're going to do another random generator to pick which player goes first. So, Pat, hit us with the random generator.
I'll hit you with it, but Zay didn't trade up for the number 1 overall?
No trade up
You were
yet.
talking about making those calls for a 3rd round, 3 first-round picks, whatever it was.
Sean Watson type trade, but...
Yeah. He didn't give him the Godfather offer.
No, unfortunately not.
It was the Andrew Berry, and you know what? We'll give Joe Shane some credit. Both those teams trying to trade up and get Cam Ward this year. Couldn't get it done. Price was too heavy. But I'm excited because I think this is pretty open-ended on what best means. I have a couple that I don't think are going to be best in a lot of people's eyes, but just the feeling of the game, I think.
I think that's the big part of it.
Yeah, it's the feeling right after the game.
Because the Browns haven't been in too many, important games.
Exactly. And I have a funny feeling those are going to fly off the board right away. This will be good.
Here's the random number generator. So who's going first? Who wants the first pick?
Why don't we assign us numbers? So I'll be 1, Zay's 2, Pat, you're 3.
Okay.
Yes.
So whatever number comes up first, we'll have the first pick, 1 through 3.
All right. Number 1.
All right, so I'll
Max
take
gets
it.
number 1.
That's a big one. That's
number
a big
2.
one.
I was going to pick
and
1,
then number
3. All right, so Zay will get 2.
Zay
Pat,
get 2.
You'll get
Yep.
3. We'll
That's
go
right.
around.
All right.
Yeah,
Without further ado, fellas.
Yep, I'll take the playoff win versus the Steelers. Thank you very much. Right. We'll move on. I don't need to explain anything. That is the obvious 101 here.
Yeah, what do you say always say? Like, what is understood doesn't need to be explained?
Yes,
yeah, I feel like that sums up that game in this town.
And if there was a moment, I'd take the first snap.
The first snap. Oh. How can you not? I mean, that whole first quarter is iconic, bro. The reason why Chef Zay is here today with Honor the Land is from the video that I made. I just remember you've gotta be kidding. This was after the Ronnie Hickman interception, and we went up like 24. I could not believe it. Like, Easy 1-1.
Yes.
Easy 1-1.
I'm glad I got it too.
I think if that game wasn't 1-1 though, this game was probably the next one.
I think I know where you're going.
Jets Browns Baker Mayfield, right?
Has to be.
That's a good one.
Like that has to be the
not,
next
not
game.
what I was thinking.
Not
but
what
I
you
like
were
that.
Really?
thinking.
Not what you were
It's on my
thinking.
list, but not what I was thinking for the next pick. Not gonna lie.
Okay.
I mean, I think I might know where you're going with that, but when you talk about feel, the tide turning, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. If you want to zoom in, like
Right.
I'll never forget where I was. I'll never forget what I was doing. I'll never forget Tyrod Taylor. I'm just like, oh, this is the game Tyrod Taylor goes down with an injury. Sure enough, he goes down with an injury. Baker Mayfield comes in. It's the touchdown. It's the pass from Jarvis to Baker. It's the cracking of the fridge opening. Like so many things happening on that day. Give me Jets Browns.
Wow. That's an elite pick. I think I know where you were also talking with Browns Jets too. I think that one might be in there for me. Talking about the Joe Flacco clinching the playoffs in
It's a good
2023.
one. Yeah.
That's a good one.
I think I'm just gonna have to go with that one. I'm
That's a
gonna
good
make
one,
an easy don't miss on this pick. I mean, the feeling of that in the city, the way that Joe Flacco brought a different energy to this city was kind of wild too, because former Raven for years and years is so funny to think about it. But if you look to, big shout out to my guy Mike Hopkins, he was a former student of mine at Ashland University, Browns videographer. The light show before that game, I don't know if you've seen that, but oh my God, it looked unbelievable. The content crews did a great job. That win meant so much here in this city. It was kind of unbelievable. Yeah. So I've got that for my number one pick. And honestly, I think I have to go here. I don't know if this is more like nostalgia for me, but the 2009 Josh Cribbs Jerome Harrison game.
I got
Okay.
Yeah. So Jerome Harrison rushes for the Browns single game record of what?
250 something?
something like that.
Yep.
235 yards, whatever it was. Josh Cribbs, 2 return touchdowns to set
That's a
or to
banger.
tie the all-time record of kickoff touchdown record. I mean, unbelievable game. I remember my job being on the floor in a 41-35 shootout. The Browns win it.
I like that.
I'm torn here because now I'm trying to figure out where you're going.
There's a couple.
I know there's one. Like, I'm stuck between two here, and I'm afraid if I don't take this one now, you'll get it.
Okay. Let's see.
I mean, you want to talk about propelling Chef Zay up to another level. This game holds so much weight for me. The Watson comeback game.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I mean, down 14. I had arguably probably my best call ever with the Oko Ronka roll your boat gently down Newsome Street on the interception. The hype that was Deshaun Watson finally turning the corner.
Yeah.
Give me Ravens Watson comeback game.
I like that. That was on my list. That was a good one, but I'm not going to lie. That was not where I was going next.
I'm trying to think of which other one you're going to.
I am going what did this would have been 2020. Yeah, the playoff year, the clinching game before the playoffs against Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If I'm not
That's a
mistaken,
great
it was
pick.
the Baker run. I'm pretty sure he slid.
QB power.
No, it was. I know what you're talking about, and there's a reason why I wasn't even thinking of that game.
Interesting.
Okay.
What was the reason?
They were starting to check out on Baker
Ooh.
at that time. Was it that? Was that the
Interesting.
same year?
No, I don't think so.
No,
'Cause
maybe that was the 2021 year.
Yeah, that was the year after. This was the clinching game that led them to the playoff win or that season.
Odell was still on our team that year,
Yeah, I remember he tore his ACL though.
Oh yeah, that's right.
and
Yeah,
then was
so-
he
That
gone the
Cowboys
next
game.
year?
Most of it.
no.
Yeah.
No,
It was
No.
against the Pittsburgh game. Was it at home?
yeah, so you are thinking of the Steelers. The Steelers beat the Browns in the game you're thinking of. It was middle of the season. Odell was on the team.
No, I'm thinking of the game where Baker Mayfield ran out of bounds on the sideline and he does that. First
They lost
down.
that game. Same
Did
game.
they lose
lost
that game?
Yep, they lost that game. Pat Fryermuth game-winning touchdown.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep, that was the year after or 2 years after. I don't remember
Okay.
which one, but that was
'Cause-
after the Steelers clinching game. It was during COVID. I remember a bunch of my friends from college were at the game shirtless. I remember that in 10-degree weather. It was amazing. So that is my number 2 pick. My number 3 pick is when the Browns beat, I believe they were the San Diego Chargers at the time,
You did it again.
Man.
Every year I think
and gave them a 1 win in the 1-15
You suck.
season.
I hate
That's
you.
that's my 103.
The pierogi Prince of Parma.
Yes.
Jamie Meter.
Jamie Meter.
Pride of-
Jamie Meter.
Yeah,
Jamie
dude.
Meter.
Jamie Meter. I'll tell you what,
That's
dude.
my
That's
one-
twice that Ashland has come up, but he's the pride of Ashland University. I'll tell you that.
Really? I did
Ashland
not know
University
that.
football. Yeah. And that was on
Wow.
Christmas Eve. I do remember. If I do remember correctly.
Dang,
Wow.
you
Christmas
really
Eve.
snap every single week. You take one of mine, and that's
sorry.
why I should have won that one first thing because you wouldn't have took the Watson one.
No, I would have. That was my next one. I would have taken whichever one. To be honest with you.
All right, now this gets really hard because I have to come up with a couple on the fly.
Yeah, it's
but
tough.
I do have another one that was pretty fun. Arguably, and I don't even want to say arguably, I think the greatest catch a Cleveland Brown has ever made. Tampa Bay Buccaneer game.
Oh, that's a
David
good one.
Njoku, back of the end zone.
Did they win that game?
They won that
yeah.
game.
Oh,
That was
okay.
like
I
4th
can't
and 10,
remember.
right?
Nick Chubb rushes it in on the free play, but before you even get there, it's a crap. Like it's like 12-9 or something like that. It looks like it's all doors all closed. Jacoby Brissett was our quarterback.
Yep.
Throws to a wide open Amari Cooper, drops the ball.
Yep.
All hope is lost. And next thing you know, he throws a freaking dart to David Njoku, and I don't know how he caught that. Go into overtime, reconnects with Amari Cooper on a deep pass,
that.
sets it up for Nick Chubb to rush it in. I mean, anytime you beat Tom Brady, the GOAT, Myles
a good
Garrett
one.
had a couple sacks.
Yep.
So I guess I'll go the Tampa Bay David Njoku catch game.
I like that. Pat?
Man, that's such a great pick too, because like that play in itself being 4th and 10 from the 10,
Yeah.
or 4th and goal from the 10, I guess you could say. Njoku pulling that in the back of the end zone was crazy. He had to see the little heels of his feet staying in too, but
Best
guys,
catch I've seen.
Yeah.
with the meaning too behind it. But guys, kind of a personal one for me too. Actually, is I'll pull this up right here. Braylon Edwards of all people.
Ooh.
Back in 2007, this was actually I think it was 2008, September
Was this the
16th.
45-50 game?
I believe so. Yeah, it was the home opener in 2007, and for whatever reason, you just had a feeling early on in that year. And I'll actually pull this right back up here, but it's funny too because Big Play co-host Anthony Schlegel is the defender in that picture, by the way.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, 58 right back there, which is so
Wow.
funny. He
That's
wasn't
crazy.
in coverage, of course, but
Yeah, no,
No,
that's
he
still
looks
wild,
burnt
though.
to me.
yeah, he's not much
That's
of a
awesome.
cover linebacker, I'll tell you that. But Braylon Edwards makes this diving catch, and I think it was, like you said, 51-45, something along those lines.
Yeah.
But 2007, that year we went 10-6, missed the playoffs, but that season had such a different feeling to it, and that right there was kind of the start of it for me, honestly.
I like that.
Unreal.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's a thing where I have just for wide receivers too, because on my second pick here too, I think it's because I was at this game with my dad. But in 2013, week 13, Josh Gordon, 95-yard touchdown from Brian Hoyer, took it against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think I'm going with that one as well too, because
200-yard game, I think. too.
200-yard game. It was his back-to-back 200-yard games. That's where you
like
knew
that.
you were in the thick of a heater of Josh Gordon.
Yeah.
And you thought, as long as this guy can stay off the weed, basically. Like Stephen A. Smith used to say, we had something special in that guy. And watching that guy in person, I'll never forget it. The long strides,
Yeah.
being able to absolutely body defenders was crazy.
That's a really good one. That's a good one.
I'm so mad at myself right now because I just lost one of the ones that I was gonna say.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
I have another one on the ready, but just give me a second if I can
Okay.
muster it up a little.
You're good. You're good. So right now we'll do a little brief recap. So I have the 101 was the playoff game. Then I also took the clinching playoff spot game of that year against the Steelers. And then the game in Christmas Eve, right? The 1-15 game, if I'm not mistaken. Christmas Eve game, but the game
sir.
where the Browns won to give them one win in the 1-15 season. Then you had, Zay, the Browns-Jets where Baker was there, the Watson comeback, as well as the Bucks game, the overtime game. And then, Pat, you had the Cribbs 2-touchdown game,
sir.
the
Jerome
Jets
Harrison,
in 23,
Yep.
the clinching game,
Yep.
Braylon Edwards in 07, and then the 23 Josh Gordon, or
Yeah.
2013, excuse me, Josh
2013,
Gordon
yep.
game. So, Zay, it'll go you,
So
I
Zay,
get two,
the
you,
Deshaun
Pat.
Watson game, that was the one in Baltimore, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
All right. So this one's a nostalgia for me, but it also had some meaning to it. We're going way back.
Ooh, okay.
We're going
Okay.
way back. Tim Couch.
Wow.
Tim Couch.
Oh, I
to-
know where you're going.
Tim Couch to Quincy Morgan. Hail Mary pass. Jacksonville Jaguars
Wow.
for the win. Not only was it for the win, it was to also keep the Browns' playoff hopes alive, and where they ultimately end up going to the playoffs and losing to the Pittsburgh Steelers with Kelly Holcomb as their quarterback and not Tim Couch. That game, to me, because that was right around that time where like, well, Kelly Holcomb should play. Tim Couch is da-da-da-da. They were bickering back and forth, and I was on the side of Tim Couch, and he threw that ball 50 yards. And just the week before that, I think it was the week before that or 2 weeks before that, or that same year, he had a Hail Mary pass that tipped into, I think it was Kevin Johnson's hand against the Saints.
right.
So, you want to talk about
That's a
Hail
good one.
Mary, like that. Tim Couch is my guy. So give me the Jaguars, Quincy Morgan, Hail Mary touchdown catch.
Quincy
like
Morgan is such a good pull as we'll pull this up here, guys. Video 2002. I mean, that era where you bring in Quincy Morgan and those receivers, I think there's Andre Davis in there as well.
Andre Davis, Quincy
Yeah, dude.
Morgan,
Dennis
Kevin
Northcutt
Johnson.
too, I think.
Northcutt,
Yeah,
yep.
dude. Those wide receivers were nothing to scoff at, honestly. Love that pick from you.
I like that a lot.
Love it.
So I got back-to-back here. I know for a fact I'm not even flinching last year's Thursday Night Football game against Steelers.
Yep.
You talk about
Snow Globe.
Snow Globe,
Dang, banger. I was
trying to get
otherworldly
it.
games. In my personal experience, I've told so many people this, I've never experienced something like that where you're at the game, the snow is falling, it is legitimately a blizzard. Wake up the next morning, not an inch of snow on the ground,
Nothing.
not a snowflake on the ground. It was surreal. It
Crazy.
That parking lot was madness.
It was unbelievable. Unbelievable in the game itself, too. I also wanted to throw a Jameis game in there because, I mean, that was so much fun, even though obviously the season didn't go as we thought it would. I have one in my mind, but maybe, you know what? Maybe I just say it because I think it would contribute to the character of the list. The Browns lost this game, but I still have one in my mind.
Sometimes those are the best Browns games.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Is it recent?
Kinda. Yeah, kinda. I'm going to do it. 2018, Nick Chubb's rookie year.
Oh, yep.
Oh,
Three
Yeah,
carries, 105 yards, I believe 2 touchdowns. But
Three.
the Nick Chubb
2
welcome to the
touchdowns.
NFL party. We obviously, I'm pretty sure the final score was 45-42. I just looked it up. Pretty sure that was the game. But I'm pretty sure the Browns lost that game.
Yeah, they did.
Still, Nick Chubb's welcome to the NFL game for 6 years down the line, better part of at least. We got to see Nick Chubb in a Browns uniform. Kind of the standard was set for Nick Chubb. I think going off the cuff, it's a tough one to pick. I'm glad I got the snow globe, but I'll rock with the Nick Chubb game. I got to have some type of Nick Chubb game in
I'll tell you what, too, because like that game we did lose. I mean, the referees that was truly, I'm not a big blame the refs guys, but that was one of the worst refereeing performances I've ever seen. So Baker Mayfield got a helmet-to-helmet, and the referees were like, well, the quarterback was actually a runner, so
Oh
it's
my-
okay.
I remember that
game.
call.
And I just remember Nick Chubb running across the old infield of the Oakland Coliseum, right?
Yep.
Going, just streaking down the sideline. And then we get couldn't get a 15-yard penalty for helmet-to-helmet contact. That's always going to be a penalty at all times.
Yeah.
Unbelievable day.
I just remember Hugh Jackson.
Yep.
Like, why are you not playing this kid?
Yeah.
Like, he was so hell-bent on Isaiah Crowell. Like, bro, just put in Nick
put Nick
Chubb,
Chubb in.
please.
Please.
All right, now I'm kind of torn because I just came up with a couple of them.
Okay.
I'm stuck because I really want to put this game in here, but I really kind of want this game too. So like, maybe I'll throw an honorable mention at the end.
Yeah,
Which one do you think is better completes your list? Which would more people enjoy? Like, which more people agree with you on, do you think, I guess?
I think only because it's more recent.
Okay.
Probably this one. So I'll probably go this route. I'll throw the honorable mention.
Yeah,
at
we'll
the
do
other
honorable
one.
mentions at the end.
Give me the 49ers game.
That's a good one. Very good one.
You want to talk about a game you had no business winning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
PJ
truly.
Walker.
PJ Walker, it was raining. 49ers were 4-0 at the time. Everyone in America,
good one.
including myself, had the 49ers winning that game. The defense was the reason why you won this game. And then the defense is almost the reason why you lost the game because you get the lead and then they just get absolutely carved up on the last drive, only for their Jake Moody to go wide right. Like that game was
Jake
so
Moody.
beautiful, and it played a part into how that whole entire season ultimately was because that was the year we won 11-6. Games you weren't supposed to win, you found ways to win, and I mean, I think everybody remembers that game.
Yes, that's a really good
So-
one. I like that one a lot. All right, Pat, take
Yep.
us home with your final pick.
So I'm trying to remember the year, but more of a personal one for me too, because so the Brian Hoyer game, specifically the very last one where he beat the Vikings,
Okay.
I think it was to make it like 7-3 or 7-4 or something like that.
Okay.
And then they replaced him with Johnny Manziel, I think the next week. The feeling that they had no business winning that game, and they won it like, I don't even know, like 15-9, something ridiculous, something so stupid, but they gutted out that football game. In first place, 7-4. I couldn't believe it because I was down at college too. So it was weird being the first time in my life. 07 I remembered a little bit, but I was more of like a kid. That was the first time like kind of going into my adult years where the Browns were in first place, actually playing good football. I think it was Mike Pettin still, if I remember correctly. But that was some of the most excited I've ever been, more so because we were huge Brian Hoyer fans from back at the Ignatius
Hoyer
days.
the Destroyer.
Hoyer the Destroyer. That's my fantasy football team name. But that game where they were in first place, waking up the next morning, you couldn't tell me nothing.
We were
Truly,
so hyped.
you could not tell me nothing.
It lasted for like a week.
Dude.
I think we were tied with Baltimore.
Yeah.
We were tied with somebody for first place, and they end up getting it the next week because we lost 2 in a row. And then Haslam came down and said, Put the kid in.
Yep, Johnny, right now.
I
could not believe that, dude.
You know what's crazy? I'll never forget that because they had Dante Whitner on 92.3, and they talked about that specific season. Everyone in that locker room was pissed when they did that because they generally believed that they had a shot that year.
Of course.
That was the year we had TJ Ward, we had Tayshaun Gibson, we had Joe Hayden. Our defense was the no fly zone on the shore or something like that. And then you destroy it, but yeah, let's not go there.
Brutal.
Yeah, well,
That's it. I thought you were going a different one with Hoyer.
Okay.
Because
so
the honorable mention that I was going to go,
Uh-huh.
the comeback game, the biggest comeback in NFL history was
that's
against
right.
the Titans. I believe Travis Benjamin had two touchdowns that game.
Wow,
Maybe.
Travis Benjamin.
I believe Hoyer was the quarterback, and we found a way to come back and win that game. If I'm not mistaken, it was like 24-3.
28-3.
28-3, and we came back and won
this
that
up right
game.
here, 2014, largest road comeback in NFL history. Hoyer the Destroyer leads them 28-3, 2:44 remaining in the second quarter.
Yep.
They end up winning that game 29-28, guys.
Yep.
Wow.
That's incredible. To come back with, 26 unanswered points is unbelievable.
Yeah,
the
that's
Browns.
Patriots Falcons Super Bowl all over again
right.
too.
Oh, wow.
Man,
Falcons fans,
28-3.
Falcons fans are always catching
28-3.
strays. But that is actually the second Travis Benjamin mention on the show. The flag football draft we got to mention as
Let's
well.
go.
He was
nice,
sleeper
dude.
good.
He was
For
quick,
us.
take top off. He's a good
Yeah.
player. Good player. But we will run through the draft one more time. So my 5, I had the Steelers playoff win, the clinching game to get the Browns to the playoffs that same year, also against the Steelers. The 1-15 win, the only win of the 1-15 season against the Chargers, the Snow Globe game, and Chubb's game in 2018, I believe, was the rookie year, but he had 3 carries, 105 yards. Zay, you had the notorious Baker Mayfield game Thursday night against the Jets, the Watson comeback against the Ravens in 2023, the Bucks game in overtime, the David Njoku catch, Tim Couch Hail Mary game, and then your final pick was the
49ers
game in 23. Then, Pat, you had the Josh Cribbs 2-touchdown game, the Jets clinching game in 2023. That also a
That's a
Thursday
good
night
one.
game. That's a very good one. Braylon Edwards game in 07, 2013 Josh Gordon game, and then the final Brian Hoyer game to push him to 7-4.
Elite list, guys, fellas.
Yeah.
Vote in the comments who won, honestly, because that's kind of a tough one.
That is a very good one. You can't really go wrong with any of those games,
Yeah.
too, I think.
Yeah, last week I was getting cooked a little bit in the comments. I think this one's going to be a little bit closer.
Yeah, this will be a
This
good
one's
one.
going to be a little closer.
Yes, this one will be more competitive. As always, guys, vote in the description of the tweet as well as the description of the Instagram post as well as the reply in the tweet. Whenever you guys see it, it'll come out the next day. But we're going to move on to our next top 5 segment with Zay and I, the 5 Browns that need to take the biggest leap in 2025 up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. We are going to give you our top 5 Browns that need to make the biggest leap in 2025. But before we do, I want to tell you that Honor the Land is proudly sponsored by Infinity. Safety never looked this good. Test drive the Infinity QX80, the 2024 IIHS top safety pick. You put your family first, and so do we. With a suite of standard safety features, the 2025 QX60 and IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus is as safe as it is luxurious. The 2025 Infinity QX60, safe enough for your little ones. Meet your new security blanket, and IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, the 2025 Infinity QX60. Zay, as we enter the 2025 season, we are all looking at a bunch of different Cleveland Browns to make the big leap, to make significantly more noise in the starting lineup or even rotationally than they have in the past. We're going to give our top 5 Browns that need to make that leap walking into this season. I'll let you start because I know you got
I have
at
three
least,
honorable
at least
mentions.
one honorable mention. Yeah.
I have 3. I'll make it quick.
Okay.
The first one, I hesitated putting him in, Joe Flacco.
Okay.
I think when you talk about leap, I'm not talking about from the Indiana leap. I'm talking about from 2023. Cut down the turnovers, continue to do the same play that you had, you'll be fine. But the 2 that I really think could actually deserve a spot in this, Isaiah McGuire and Mohamed Diabate. I think when you talk about Isaiah McGuire, what he started to do at the end of last year, it was showing the flashes of, oh man, this guy has something. So going into year 3, the first year he came in, didn't get a lot of reps. Last year got a lot more reps. This is the year you're looking at. Are you going to try to make that push to get that second contract? With Mohamed Diabate, no JOK. He's going to have to come in and fill that void. Did a pretty good job doing it last year. So I feel like they deserve the honorable mention. But at number 5, we talked about him last week. We talked about him a little bit before that as well. DeJuan Jones. I think just getting our left tackle for the future, making sure that he is the guy, making sure that weight comes down a little bit, he's back light on his feet. It's such a valuable asset to have if you don't have to waste a resource next year in the draft when you got 2 first-rounders on a left tackle. So if DeJuan Jones can make that jump to solidify it and put it in cement, I think we're good. So give me DeJuan at 5.
I like that. I also have DeJuan Jones on my list, but not at number 5. My number 5, I went back and forth, Martin Emerson or this player, friend of the program, Alex Wright. I think Alex Wright, just baseline off what we've seen the past, really just even looking at last year, but before that, Alex Wright was an unbelievable part of that defensive line. And now when you lose Dalvin Tomlinson, obviously you bring in Mason Graham, who, even though it was a top 5 draft pick, still unproven. That's the reality of a rookie. Somebody else on the defensive line has to step up, and I'll talk about somebody else as well, but somebody else has to step up, and I think Alex Wright can be that guy, whether it's an every down role, whether it's a sub-package role, whatever it may be. Alex Wright is going to be out there, assuming he's fully healthy, which it sounds like from our conversation he is or will be. He is going to be an immediate difference maker in the run game. He can get after the quarterback, and it's not like he's unproven, where there are some guys who may be on this list that we're looking at to make some noise in the starting lineup. No, Alex Wright had a game-winning sack against the Jacksonville Jaguars last year. Alex Wright can do this.
With his broken whatever it was.
Yes, an unknowing torn triceps at the time.
Torn, that's what it was, tricep.
Yeah, which is horribly painful. But Alex Wright, and it's a leap that we all know will happen and trust will happen, but I am staring at that along the defensive line as well as somebody else who's actually my next pick. But I'll kick it back to you for number 4.
4, I'm going Grant Delpit.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what type of leap I'm actually expecting from him, but when you think about the safety room and you think about all the guys that have left, he's now the veteran in that department. You got to bring on a guy like Ronnie Hickman. We know you like to play closer into the box, maybe tap it into a little bit of being more ball hawkish a little bit. He just needs to be the guy that we look at. You look at all these safety. You look at some of the safeties in our division. Kyle Hamilton, one of them, is just like. You know what time it is with Kyle Hamilton. People need to know what time it is with Grant Delpit. Us Browns fans may know what it is, but he needs to go out there and make a name for himself league wide. When people look at the Browns and be like, circle number 9, where is he at all times? So give me Grant at 4.
I like that. I love the point about making a name league wide because there are certain players within the Browns fan base, but also locker room that are really good, we know are really good, but nationally, we're just not 100% sure. And my number 4 is a guy that Alex Wright sat right there and told us, eyes lit up when he talked about Mike Hall. His eyes lit up. This guy's unbelievably explosive. We saw flashes last year, obviously coming back from an injury, assuming he is ready to go at some point this year. Mike Hall is a guy who I am looking at as an immediate difference maker on that defensive line. Game wrecker, explosive. He can get after the quarterback. Mason Graham can get after the quarterback. Obviously, you got Myles Garrett, Obo Okoronkwo. I am still not throwing out the fact that the Browns signed Joe Tyron Shayenka, who is a guy who can get after the quarterback, a true athletic outside guy. I just talked about Alex Wright, Isaiah McGuire. They roll deep in that.
That's a lie.
They roll deep in that room, and that's the reality of it. But the inside guys, like Mike Hall, I don't want to understate the loss of Dalvin Tomlinson. That's a huge loss. And Mason Graham is a good player, but Dalvin Tomlinson is a defensive tackle that was in the trenches. 8 double teams for breakfast, lunch, dinner, pre-workout snack, post-workout, everything. He loved his double teams. He ate them alive. And he can get after the quarterback too. But he gave you so much in the run game that it's really hard to just replicate that with one person. And I think Mason Graham can step in and do it alongside the other guys. But the other guys, I think, have to be headlined by Mike Hall.
Mike Hall next to Mason Graham and Miles is
insane.
It's literally Nightmare on Elm Street. Number 3, I think we probably both have this guy on our list as well, Cedric Tillman. There just seems like there's a lot of stock into this guy. Now, I know they put a lot of stock into their guys at the receiver position. Andrew Berry, being the main guy putting the stock in it because it seems as if he never wants to take the L on the receivers that he drafts. But I just think back to the flashes that we saw this past year when you do it 1 week, okay. You do it 2 weeks, I'm watching. You do it 3 weeks in a row, there's something there. So you can get that Cedric Tillman with the Jerry Jeudy, with what David Njoku is capable of doing, with the run game opening up all of this stuff, if Deontay Johnson comes in and he's routing up people, you're just going to have to be like, okay, where's Cedric Tillman at? Let me just go throw it to him, because more than likely he's going to have single coverage. If he can abuse those single coverage matchups while everyone else is getting the recognition from the defense, I mean, we should be talking about it. I mean, dare I say 2 receivers have 1,000 yards? Probably not, but he should be in that 800-yard range, 750, 800-yard range easy this year.
If it was the offense they were using
if it's
last
Joe Flacco
year,
at quarterback.
That's also fair. Yeah, quarterback plays a big part, but the offense plays a big part too. We're changing the offense here in Cleveland, which is good. It's a good thing.
Still throwing it 50 times, though.
I don't think we are.
So you think we're going to be do you think we're going to be a more run-heavy? We've never been a run-heavy team.
That is the
with
goal.
Stefanski.
That is the goal. That is the vision. That is what they want. You got to be competitive to do that.
So what, are you going to be 43-40 run, 43-35?
I think in an ideal world, there are no tells. I think they are close to 50-50.
I just don't.
It's an ideal world, and they got to win games and stay competitive so they don't fall behind and have to pass every single down. Number 3, I don't even need to go too much in depth in this. I feel like I did it the entirety of last offseason. Ronnie Hickman. You need another safety to step up. That's a ball-hawking guy. Obviously, the Ohio State guys are near and dear to everybody's hearts here, so Ronnie Hickman is a guy I'm looking at. You're number 2.
You guys ready? Dustin Hopkins.
Wow, I love that pick.
I mean,
that's a good pick.
We gave you a contract. We put all our faith into you, and then out of nowhere, you turn into Cade York. We can't have that. The games that we shouldn't be winning come at your foot. So if you could just get back on that dotted line and turn into the Dustin Hopkins that we fell in love with in 2023, I think we'll probably win 1 or 2 more games easy just off of that. So I think it's easy. Dustin Hopkins at 2.
That is a great pick. I'm flip-flopping my 1 and 2 as I thought about it. Number 2, I'm going Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman is a guy that we all look at, and you see the raw tools. You see that stretch of production with a quarterback who wasn't afraid to throw the football down the field, and Jameis Winston. You know what he is. You know what he has. He's got to stay healthy, and he's got to get his opportunities to make the most of them. If he can do that, and if he can make a leap, regardless of the stats, it's going to put you into a world where you can't just double-team Jerry Jeudy and leave him one-on-one.
Nope.
And if the Browns are getting behind the chains or falling behind in games and have to throw the football to get back in it, you can't just live in a world as a defense where you say, okay, let's do everything we can to take Jerry Jeudy out and make everybody else beat us. Obviously, you have to have a plan for David Njoku too, but if Cedric Tillman steps up, he makes that offense so much better in the pass game.
100%.
So much better.
Judy's life becomes way easier well, too. Last week, I did it.
Let's hear it.
This week, I'm doing it again with the coach, Stefanski.
Wow.
He needs to take the biggest leap, man. This all rides. Obviously, the players have to go out there and execute, but I just don't see how many more chances you're going to give this regime or this coaching staff if they come out and fall flat on their face.
Yeah.
You have to come out. You have to get your offense back. Is this going to be the year where you finally get into that top 10 in the offensive category? You've got 210, but you've never gotten inside top 10 in the offense. You've had stretches of it. We need it for a full season. You're driving the bus, buddy. So if you can be the coach, the 2-time coach of the year that we know you can be, if you can get the locker room bought in back to your scheme again, there's no reason why this team should be hovering around that 4.5 win marker. We should be winning games this year. So Kevin Stefanski has got to take the biggest leap this year, despite the 2 coaches of the year.
That's a great call. I really like that one. And like you said, he's driving the bus. This is, at least from the outside looking in, his show. I love that pick. My number 1, you already talked about, but I want to make sure everybody knows that when you face TJ Watt twice a year, when
Trey Henderson,
you're probably going to play Trey Hendrickson twice a year. When you're playing these elite edge rushers, you're going to get Aiden Hutchinson. You're going to get Jonathan Grenard. I'm trying to think down the Browns schedule. You're going to get Bradley Chubb. You're going to get a lot of really, really good pass rushers. If you have a left tackle that can eliminate him from the game, if you can have somebody take Micah Parsons out of the game, like the Browns kind of did in week 1, if you can take TJ Watt out of the game, if you can take Nick Bosa out of the game, like DeJuan Jones did in 2023, you are a significantly better football team. You can have all the flashy playmakers you want. You can have the defense that will keep you in a game, maybe even put points on the board for you. If you do not have a protector to eliminate the other team's game wrecker, you are at a significant disadvantage. And every single game, DeJuan Jones has been physically and mentally bought in, and has straight up been healthy, he has been the best player on the offensive line. And there's almost no debate about it. If DeJuan Jones can make that leap, that Browns offensive line gets better, that Browns offense gets better, and as Joel Bitonio talked about in his interview at the charity golf outing, the team gets better because the Browns can take care of the football, keep your defense fresh. To me, he is the key to the offense this year. Obviously, quarterback matters above anything else. But if you had to pick a non-quarterback key, I think it's DeJuan Jones.
That's fair. I would look at. I think the key might actually be the running game this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think there's a lot to it, but DeJuan Jones got to step up in that as well. Everything falls back to the offensive line, which the Browns are very much not overhauling, but leaning back into, I think, which is a really, really nice thing to see. We're going to talk about the offensive line, the offseason moves, and a little bit more next in Around the Land, our Q&A segment on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb, he is Chef Zay, and this is Around the Land, the segment where we answer your Cleveland Browns questions across our social pages at Honor the Land on Instagram, TikTok, X, and YouTube. The exact same handle on all 4 places. We got 3 really good questions we got to get through today. Pat, kick us off with the first question today.
All right, guys. Really excited to draft number 49. This comes from Ian. What are your thoughts on his role without JOK?
This is a very interesting one. We've touched on this very briefly, just barely at different points, but let's get in deep here. What do you foresee in terms of Carson Schwarzenegger's role? We all think he's going to be good, but what do you think his role in this defense is?
Quarterback on defense. Am I crazy to say it early? Obviously, it's early, but I think who are you looking to? I mentioned Diabate earlier in the show. I think he'll have a major role in this thing, but I think they drafted Carson to be that guy in the middle of the field that's going to be the Mike. He's going to be the guy that's making sure everybody's lined up where they need to be lined up. I just don't see why you would take him so early if that wasn't the plan.
Yeah.
Like you're basically a first-round guy on this guy. So I'm expecting him to come in and have an instant impact. I would look at this guy. I was just talking to you earlier before the show started, there's been very rare instances where the Browns have had players that you just look at and it's like, yeah, he's got it. I told you Junkins has it. The other guy that I was referring to, besides Jerry Jeudy, Carson Schwarzenegger, I just look at this guy and I don't know if it's the way he's built. I don't know if it's his leg. I don't know if it's the fact that he looks like he's gliding on the field. I look at him and I'm like, finally, this might be the guy. He might be our James Harrison. You know what I mean? Not talking about the grittiness, of course, but people are going to know who Carson is, so I think he's going to have a major role this year.
I like that. Here's where I disagree. I think in the early downs, he's not going to be the Mike. I think that's Jordan Hicks.
Okay. I forgot about Hicks.
I think they're going to let him. Here's my vision for Carson Schwarzenegger, everybody. This is my vision. Early downs, you live in the 4-3 world or your 4-2-5 world. You're basically letting Carson Schwarzenegger fill JOK's shoes.
Mm-hmm.
The backside backer, the edge of the earth on the other side, occasionally coming in, filling gaps on your run blitzes, and basically allowing him in early downs to play with his head cut off. And I think every player in the NFL plays a little bit better to some extent when they're not thinking as much. And that comes from a place of understanding your assignment beforehand. And from what we've heard, Carson Schwarzenegger is a football junkie. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt in my mind that he would walk into a game plan fully understanding not just his role, but the roles of the defensive lineman in front of him, the other backers around him. I think he has a really, really nice role in that world, the early down, the run, quote-unquote, downs before third down. Now, this is going to have to come in camp and the coaches looking at which backers they feel are better in coverage. But from what I've seen with Carson Schwarzenegger, he can do a decent job in coverage. So when you get into those sub packages, your dime world, your dollar world, you can let him be the quarterback of the defense then.
A better Taki version.
Yes, almost, yes. And you can get Jordan Hicks, a little bit of an older guy, off the field. Number one, because he probably wouldn't be as good in those pass situations. But number two, because he's older, because there's more tread on his tires, he is going to have to play less if he wants to be impactful when he does play. So that's my vision for Carson Swessinger.
No, you're 100% right, and he'll take over that role next year because I'm pretty sure this is the last year on Jordan Hicks' contract if they decide not to bring him back.
And maybe JOK's back.
And maybe JOK's back. But if JOK's back, I think he fills the role that you just mentioned for Carson, which is you want JOK playing with his head cut
Yes,
off
absolutely.
24/7.
There's not a doubt in my mind.
Yeah, I want him flying around the field making all type of plays, but hopefully that, he does come back. But I definitely you bring up, I forgot about Hicks. Hicks is the middle guy. He's the quarterback on that defense right now. But I do think that he's probably going to be coaching Carson to take over that spot. But you're definitely right in that aspect.
And Swessinger getting experience at that Will Backer position will help him help the next Will Backer, whether it's JOK or not, when he takes that Mike position. So I think we have a very similar vision where regardless of where he plays, Carson Swessinger is going to be able to play with his head cut off. He's going to make an immediate impact on the defense and be the first pick of the second round that we all saw him drafted as. Pat, the second question, let's hear it.
Yeah, guys, it comes from She Loves Jay. Get a general pulse check on everybody. What's your guys' opinion on what we've done in the draft and the offseason?
How do we want to do this? You want to give a grade? We've
give it a
given
letter
too many
grade.
grades.
I like
We've given too many letter grades. Let's do something else.
I think this offseason is the 10-6 year that you referenced earlier in the show.
Comparing to years.
Yeah, I think and what I mean by the 10-6 year,
I got a good one.
That next year, like, it was all feel good because we won 10 games. But that next year when we came out, we had such a high expectation to be good, and then we came out and was 4-12. I'll never forget that. But like, I think when I look at what they've done this year, this is probably the closest thing that we've seen to the 2018 year when we got Ward.
Yeah, it was 2018.
Baker and
Chubb.
I think this is like if not could be better. Obviously, we have to wait to see how these players develop.
Yeah.
But you want to talk about what they did in the draft. This is by far the best draft Andrew Berry has had. It's not even close in my opinion. And then in terms of the offseason stuff, there was nothing super flashy. Obviously, they probably let go players that would mean more than gaining players. But I think they're in a decent spot, seeing as though their back's against the wall.
Yeah, their back is against the wall.
For sure. Because if you don't get this right, like I mentioned it earlier, I don't know how this regime makes it. I think Andrew Berry has a longer leash than Stefanski. But I'm a little excited.
Okay, so I like the comparison. So that 10-6 year. You know what this offseason or year really just reminds me so much of?
The Baker offseason?
Yes, the Baker. Yeah, the first year the Browns had Deshaun Watson, where you knew that there were some good things on the roster, but you're just kind of waiting until next year. You're just kind of waiting until
you're already fast forwarding a whole
I don't
year.
want to, but that's how this offseason is feeling, right? You had the number 2 overall pick, which right or wrong trading it, you did trade it to get future assets. You got 2 first-round picks next year. Deshaun Watson, probably not on the roster next year. Who's going to start at quarterback next year? Going to be a sophomore next year, but one of the rookie quarterbacks right now. That's probably who's going to start next year, one of those 2 guys. So this is just, there's good things. I'm excited to see everybody. And football season cannot come fast enough. I'll make that clear. But I'm just kind of looking towards next offseason. I think they've done a good job, and I think they've put close to the best product on the field they could this year while keeping an eye out for the future because they have to. But I don't know. It hasn't scratched the itch like I thought it would this offseason. It's been good, but not great.
I think we're forgetting one major key element into all of this is to make it actually really good. They somehow retained Myles Garrett.
Yeah, that is all. That's
I mean, I think it almost feels like it's been so long that has happened. Like that's probably the biggest move that you let Baker go. Imagine letting Myles Garrett go after that.
Could you imagine?
Like, come on now. They brought back Myles Garrett, so you got to give credit to that. I had something on my mind that I wanted to say, and I completely forgot about it because Myles Garrett. Well, I don't know how we're not talking about that.
I'm glad you brought up Myles Garrett because the last question is going to put me in Myles Garrett's shoes. Did you see it already?
I saw. Yeah.
All right, I want your answer before I give mine. Pat, take it away.
Yeah, real quick, guys, too. It's crazy to think about that the Super Bowl was February 9th, and we're recording this on June 3rd. That's when Myles Garrett was doing his media tour, right?
Oh,
yeah, think about that. That's only 4 months ago.
Bad. Yeah,
that's only 4 months ago that happened, guys.
That was so bad.
Man, let's turn to a fun one here,
Myles,
guys.
no hard feelings, by the way.
Yeah, truly.
You just
A lot of people.
Maybe we shouldn't have done that though. But we get a fun one from our guy Jack. How many sacks would Max Loeb, our guy, get in a game with a quadruple team of 13-year-olds blocking him? That's a tough one.
60 snaps. How many sacks?
I need to know how big are these 13-year-olds because I've seen some massive 13-year-olds.
Let's say, how big were you when you were 13?
That's the wrong question.
Well, no.
That's literally, I was literally the shortest person in my, forever. So that's not fair.
Let's just say 4 average 4 13-year-olds who are athletic enough that play sports, but let's say don't play football. They're not big, or they're not big enough to play football.
I just feel like, if you go that route for sure,
Decently
always,
athletic kids.
There's always that one 13-year-old where you just look at him and be like, mother lover, you look 30.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
So if I'm going to say we'll give them one of those guys, give them one of me, which is not very big, but super athletic.
Okay.
And then we'll give you the 2 average guys. You said out of 60 snaps.
60 snaps.
I mean, is Jack scrambling to run, or is he going to have to just stand in the pocket for 10 seconds?
Let's say I'll give Jack's pro quarterback comp. You know what? He'll hate me for this. I'll say Daniel Jones.
Oh, see, I'm
mobile.
He's decently mobile, but pocket presence isn't there. Like
he's not, but Jack's also like a fraction of his height. Let's
Fair.
give him Jeff Garcia when he was on the Browns.
I was thinking the same thing.
Were you thinking Jeff Garcia?
Man. Okay, so we can pick a number here, guys. I would say sacks that Max is getting in the game. I'm going like
quadruple.
20.
What?
Dude.
I'm not even going that high.
I was around that ballpark. I was like 25.
Dude, the swim move. Max, you're a stronger guy than people think, dude.
That is.
I watched you hit the golf ball today, man.
I'll give myself
tell you
a little credit. My athletic prowess a little credit. There's still going to be, let's say 60 snaps. Not all of them are going to be passes, right? There's still going to be a dozen passes where get out quick. It's too quick. I'm affecting the quarterback, but I'm not getting a sack. I'm giving myself 1.5. I'm going to be real.
1.5.
I'll get a sack.
Believe in yourself,
13
man.
13 years
come
old.
On now.
I'm plowing through a 13-year-old.
Come on now. That's
I
too
think
easy.
you're underestimating yourself.
Okay, I don't think I'm underestimating myself. I think I'm overestimating how good 13-year-olds would be.
I'm telling you,
that's fair,
if you get that one kid, that one Shaq looking kid, he'll get you a few times, but after that, fatigue's gonna settle in.
Yeah,
then
true.
you got the smaller guy. You're just gonna plow through him.
Yeah.
I mean, you're really.
Listen,
it's
we
really
talked about Jed Wills being a turnstile. I mean, come on.
That's the real question.
I
How
feel
many?
like you versus Jed Wills. Come
How
on
many
now.
sacks would Jed Wills give up 1-on-1, 60 snaps?
Well,
to you?
none this year because he's not playing. So.
That's right.
All right.
He's giving up 60.
Yeah, exactly. He's not
1.5, dude. Come on.
Yeah, that's a
man.
little low.
No, all right. I'll give myself 2.
All right.
That's all. That's all.
If we want to go more realistic, let's go 8.5. Or we can set the over under.
I
8.5.
love you guys gas me up, but I don't believe that for a second. Jack, that was a great question. We are going to finish up here on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network with our Cleveland look ahead. Welcome back into Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay. We're going to wrap this up by giving you a brief Cleveland look ahead to everything going on this week. Depending on when you're watching this, June 3rd, 4th, and 6th are OTAs for the Cleveland Browns. Some are open to media, some are not. The other things we have to talk about, the Cleveland Cavaliers are getting a new throwback uniform for next year. In the same week, they've been rumored to trade for LeBron James. Are you making anything of that?
Did you see the one trade proposal? I don't know how I feel about it, but it was a 3-team trade with Dallas, and I can't remember who the third team was. But we trade. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you haven't seen it.
I have not.
They trade Donovan Mitchell.
No.
No, just hear it out, though.
Okay.
We get the number 1 overall pick in this year's draft, P.J. Washington, Max Keebler, or whatever his name
Max
is.
Kleber.
The shooter.
That's right, yep.
And I think there was one more decent player in that trade as well. And then, obviously, I think Donovan Mitchell ends up in Dallas and the other throw-ins.
Yeah.
But
Jared Allen to the Lakers in that one.
and Jared Allen was
That's
in
what
that
it was.
as well. Would you reset? Now, obviously, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I get it. It's like, what are we talking about? We just won 60-something games, but you're kind of resetting. You get the number 1 overall pick. You get 3 guys that are going to come in and make the rotation instantly. You're obviously keeping Darius. You still got Evan Mobley.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate. I think it's one of those trades where it's like, okay.
Yeah. And you get LeBron for a year.
That one didn't involve the LeBron. I didn't see any of the trades. I think the only trade scenario I saw with LeBron, and it was a no-brainer. It was like Jared Allen. Was it a first or a first?
Yeah, it had to have been
two firsts?
multiple. I'm shocked that trade proposal you're talking about. Why would they trade Cooper Flag in that one? Because if LeBron's not coming somewhere else from the in
Mavericks
that
aren't
trade,
trading Cooper
yeah,
Flag.
no, I don't see it. But
That's why
LeBron coming to the Cavs though.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah.
cooked.
I will say, if there's an opportunity for LeBron to come back and Donovan Mitchell is still on the roster, and Evan Mobley, I'll say Mitchell and Mobley, you probably don't say no to that. That, like, come on.
So would you rather go in again with Garland, Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen, or would you rather go Bron, Mobley, Mitchell?
Oh, LeBron, Mobley, and Mitchell.
Yeah.
For sure. I think I don't think Jared Allen is replaceable. That's not an easy thing to just replace. But I do think there's players that could give you similar production. I think there's
Replaceable like what? Because I feel like I get where you're going with that.
Jared Allen's a good player. He just hasn't played well in the playoffs.
Bingo.
Yeah.
So
So
we're not talking about regular season. You know what I mean? Like I'm tired of winning in the regular. Like I'm not tired of winning in the regular season, but damn it, the lights have been too bright ever since you made the comment.
Yeah.
You can replace Mitchell Robertson comes in and gives an impact until they start hacking him and he has to go to the line. Like you're seeing all these. Like why can't we just get production?
Yeah.
I don't know. See, you're getting me riled up a little bit with Jared Allen, just because I just think it's BS.
Okay.
That he's a 20-10 guy in the regular season.
And he's not.
And then he's non-existent in the playoffs. Like that's replaceable in my eyes.
Yeah, you give teams time to prepare in a series. That's the reality of it. That's not the sport of basketball in the regular season, but it is in the playoffs. It is the sequence of the regular season in baseball that they're a series. The Guardians are playing the New York Yankees this week, and they're back home over the weekend.
Jose's on 28, right? Is that still going?
I don't think it is. No.
Or did it end?
So the hit streak came to an end at 21, I believe, but his on-base streak has reached, I think, 26. As
Okay.
we
That's
stand
what
right
it
now.
was then.
On-base streak.
Yeah, so the Guards, huge series against the Yankees. Playing well, but also how many games back of the lead right now because of they're far back. That's the reality of it. I mean, it's still a playoff team, a playoff caliber team. Got to make the playoffs, but still sitting a little far back. And I can't believe I'm going to finish on this note. We'll talk for another second here, but I can't believe it. We have made this entire episode without spending more than a consecutive minute talking about Browns quarterback situation. Can you believe that? We did it.
I mean, yeah, until July.
Yeah, probably until next week.
Right, probably.
Yeah, but
I wanted to jump back to that Cavs thing real quick.
Yeah,
the
hit it.
uniform thing.
yeah.
Is there a Cavs uniform that you want them to like? I have two jerseys in mind, but one of them I just have a kind of like a. You can't kind of do that unless you know you're about to go to a championship, or unless you're competing at a very, 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 very high level. Are there any Cavs jerseys that you're like, yeah, bring that one back?
Yeah, the Navy.
That's one of them.
Really, any Navy jersey. I'm a big fan of the Navy jerseys, and I actually think go really well with the color scheme they have now. But Navy for sure. I think it's the wine on the side too. It's Navy with purple or the wine red, whatever color that is on the side.
Classic brown one.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my two for sure. I am. That's the
These
jersey.
go so hard, guys. These ones.
Yeah, that's the one.
Back in the
Yeah,
day,
there you go.
like these go so hard. I can't even tell you. Like the memories of LeBron and Boobie Gibson in this very studio.
And the
Boobie Gibson,
shoes.
dude. The shoes, the Zoom 3s or whatever it was, elite times. Absolutely elite times.
That same jersey, but the all white with the wine on the side, like you're talking about.
Ooh.
It's the classic
home
07.
jersey,
Yeah, that jersey. That might be the best Cavs jersey.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
I think I'll float this live on the show to you guys. Next week's Dogs on Draft, best Cleveland jerseys.
Love it. Oh, I'm in. So
I kind of love it, guys.
So
Cavs, guards,
But that's
Browns.
hard, though,
That's really
because
tough. That's tough, man.
There's not many once you get past.
Let's do uniforms. Let's
Yeah.
do uniforms because there are combinations too.
Yeah, of course.
We'll do that next week for Dogs on Draft. I like that a lot.
I might get cooked, boys.
We'll see. We'll see. But we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you listening. We will see you next time on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.